hey, this isn't really that important, so the title's kind of a lie, but I'm gonna be starting on a Minecraft movie. It's gonna be 3D animated. It's gonna take me a pretty long time.
And with that, I ushered in the darkest era of this channel and the biggest disappointment in my creative career. 2012 through 2013 was an interesting time for my channel. I had just gotten started on YouTube, and even though I only had like 18 subscribers, I was still thrilled to have people actually watching the stuff I was making. Not to mention, I was starting to form friendships with many of the fellow creators I was meeting, including Graham, creator of the acclaimed Pop Tropica the film series.
Wow! Oh, I'm in Pop Tropica.
So with this new little community I was starting to form, I had an unprecedented inspiration to make things. I was pumping out video after video, coming home from school every day excited to make more animations. Heck, I made a 13-minute cartoon in under a month. That's how motivated I was at the time. That being said, my animations also looked like this.
Aw, he's so cute and innocent and weak.
Truly, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. But quality aside, I was constantly pushing myself to get more and more done. My videos were getting longer, I was building connections with other YouTubers, I even started working with... And amidst all of this, I began thinking about what my next big project was going to be. It had to be grand, ambitious, a culmination of all the skills I had been building up so far. And then it hit me. Given that I had been making short, cheap animations on my iPod Touch with a 99-cent app for about a year and a half, I figured that clearly I was ready to take that next little baby step and make a feature-length 3D animated film. Like you do. And luckily for me, I knew just what it was going to be about. I was about 14 at the time, and like most 14-year-olds, I was really into Minecraft. I would play it whenever the family computer was free, I binge-watched Captain Sparkles on the daily, and I unironically listened to more Minecraft song parodies than I'm proud to admit.
I got a mansion made of diamonds. Minecraft Eve was mining.
Needless to say, I was pretty obsessed with this game. Luckily, I grew out of it, though. Otherwise, I might have grown into a sad, lonely, pathetic man. But anyways, given my love of the game and my budding 3D skills, it seemed only natural that my first feature film should be about Minecraft. After all, Minecraft characters were easy to model and animate, and I already had some experience doing it.
Ooh, I bet there's diamonds in there. Ah!
Yeah, man. I was ready. And so I began putting together a story. There were many trials and tribulations, but in time I had woven together a masterpiece of storytelling. It was a tale for the ages, one that would revolutionize the course of cinema. I mean, my little brother and my friend Graham from Production Pop Tropica said it was cool, so that was pretty much the only validation I needed. And thus my magnum opus, which was by now known as Untrained Creeper, was underway. It was going to follow the story of a young creeper who is forced to find his way home when he is accidentally dropped into the Minecraft world without learning to fight. Along the way, he forms an unlikely friendship with Steve, the very person his kind is being trained to kill. What followed was a gripping tale of adventure, betrayal, loss, triumph, woe, and action. What was the full story, you ask? Well, to put it briefly, the end. Honestly, I put way too much thought into the story and made it a lot more dramatic than it had any right to be. Nevertheless, I was thrilled to begin working on it. But even with my childish ignorance, I knew I wasn't going to be able to make such an ambitious project on my own. I would need to enlist the help of my adoring fans and collaborators. Like, all 20 of them. And so, on June 10th, 2013, I made my big announcement to the world.
I'm gonna be starting on a Minecraft movie. It's gonna be 3D animated. It's gonna take me a pretty long time.
And that was where the trouble began. Right off the bat, things didn't go as planned. I had pretty much hoped that with the announcement, everyone would be kneeling at my feet begging to be part of the project. But surprisingly, that didn't happen. It definitely didn't help that the initial announcement video didn't even have all the information, and I had to make a follow-up the next day. The follow-up video was only 25 seconds long and contained the word derp. In any case, I wasn't thrilled with the turnout. A few people expressed interest, but not to the extent I had hoped for. The main thing I was looking for was voice actors, and only a handful of people reached out to me about that, and those that did usually didn't commit.
Every time I ask someone to try to audition for voice acting, they'll say hey, I want to do this. And then I'll just never hear from them again.
And since people weren't going to come to me, I began reaching out to specific individuals I was closer to, asking them to try out.
Maybe this wasn't such a great idea.
Another dead end. Those stupid villagers don't know anything.
Who's there? Show yourself! Ah!
It brings me great joy to play with the nose on a villager.
I had better luck this time around, but I still couldn't find exactly what I was looking for, because my 2013 animated zero-budget Minecraft movie for the internet had standards. Despite my efforts to give people notes on their voice samples, most of them kind of started drifting away from it, leaving 14-year-old me very frustrated. It's kind of hilarious, actually. I just started passively aggressively calling out people in my videos for not jumping on board my Minecraft movie.
I've decided to refrain from asking you guys to voice act because, as you know, I have not had very good luck with that now, have I?
Why won't you help me with my Minecraft movie? But trouble with voice actors aside, I was still determined to make this movie a reality, so I began production on some of the assets. At this point, I had significantly improved my skills in Blender past this.
Glad that's over. Aw, come on.
And was able to start modeling and rigging the characters and environments. Honestly, this part went pretty well, all things considered. In the course of a few months, I had already modeled and rigged the 2 main characters and a couple others. I even made one of the main sets for the film. Oh yeah, look at these beautiful houses. This is A+ designing right here. So despite the initial setbacks, I was still confident that this movie was on its way to fruition. But alas, more troubles lay ahead. Another aspect of the film I needed was music. This was something I was really desperate for, given my complete and utter lack of musical talent. In fact, my most successful music venture at the time was a song I made for a friend who was making an animation about an evil army of people who worship Bill Nye the Science Guy. Jerk didn't even end up using it. Can you imagine? But surprisingly, one of my closest subscribers, Brass-Chi, or Careless Shenanigans as he was known at the time, offered to take up this task, and actually made a few tracks. They were pretty cool. Unfortunately, he ended up having some technical troubles with his music software, which complicated matters a bit. But I told him he could just wait until the film was actually made before making music for it. Yeah, I still thought this movie was going to be made. With the topic of music sort of taking a sideline for the time being, I decided to refocus my efforts towards attracting voice actors. My condescending Tumblr posts clearly weren't doing the trick, so I decided to change tactics. Using one of the tracks from Brass-Chi and some good old Kevin MacLeod music just for good measure, I slapped together a crude animatic of the film's opening scene. The goal was that this animatic would reinvigorate people's interest in the project, assuming there was any actual interest to begin with, that is. It worked to an extent, with a few new faces offering to lend their voices to the film, but ultimately disappearing when I tried to bring them on board. Things were looking bleak for the film. I had a lot of technical assets and a story laid out, but no means of executing it, because people just didn't see my vision. Unfortunately, the problems didn't end there. The project sort of fell into limbo for the latter half of 2013, and instead I focused on smaller, independent animations, due in part to my inability to keep people on board. Furthermore, I was still doing 2D animations on my iPod at the time, so I could do that wherever I wanted. If I wanted to do 3D stuff, though, I had to battle my parents and my army of siblings for the family computer, since I didn't have my own at the time.
Get out of my room! Making an animated film about Minecraft!
Consequently, Untrained Creeper kinda fell to the wayside. Then 2014 came around. This was just an all-around bad time for the channel, as I made no videos the entire year, unless this counts. I've talked about this several times in the past, but essentially, by 2014, I had worked myself thin with the stuff I had been making for the past 2 years, and I took myself a little nappy nap. I was in no mood to make cheap animations on my iPod, let alone a feature-length movie. Things started to look a little better, though, in 2015 when I got my own laptop, which would allow me to work on the film on my own time, but that hope was quickly crushed as well. When I imported all my Blender files to my laptop, for some reason all of the textures went missing, leaving everything a big, white mess. Try as I might, I couldn't figure out why this was happening, and I just sorta gave up trying. And this is where the film's slow, painful demise began. At this point, it had been almost 2 years since I announced the film, with virtually no progress being made beyond the first couple assets I created. I did actually manage to score one voice actor I was pleased with.
I don't like this guy. He looks suspicious. Fire!
But other than that, what few people were originally on board had sort of forgotten about it. Production was at a total standstill, and despite a few semi-hopeful posts I made on social media stating that the project would continue, I myself was starting to realize that in fact, it probably wouldn't. Life went on though. I started making animations again, created a new series, experimented with 3D animation more, and even made an 11-minute reboot of Chad and Sludgy. And through it all, some small part of me was still clinging to the hope that Untrained Creeper would become a reality. But a strange, unfortunate thing happened over the course of those years. I started to mature. When I started in 2012, I had little to no standards for my animations. I was just happy that other people were seeing them. And I was making them fast, too. Because they were so crude, I could pump out videos that were several minutes long in a matter of weeks. But as time went on, that just wasn't the case anymore. Quality became a bigger priority, production time started lengthening, and as a result, I started approaching projects more cautiously. If I was gonna spend multiple months on an animation, I wanted to make sure it would be worth my time, and quite frankly, I wasn't sure a feature-length Minecraft movie fit that criteria. The film was never officially cancelled, partly because of my naive optimism, but mostly just because I never got around to it. Funny enough, I still get occasional comments on the original announcement videos from people asking if I still need voice actors, and I've never really had the heart to straight up tell them it's not happening. All in all, the entire project has just been an unimpressive downward spiral from the get-go. But who knows? Maybe, just maybe, I can finish it someday. You know, maybe these disappointments have just blinded me to my abilities, and I can actually make it happen. Someday, I can finally...
No, Daniel!
What? Who said that?
Stop holding on to some foolish hope and just let me die already.
Creep? What are you doing here? How did you get out of the basement?
I'm here to tell you to move on with your life and let go of this project.
But if I officially cancel the project, that makes me a quitter. I've always stuck with my projects through thick and thin and seen them through to completion no matter the setbacks. I can't just give up on you.
No, there's a difference between giving up and letting go. Giving up is resisting an opportunity to grow because of the challenges that it presents. Letting go is realizing something no longer has anything to offer you. Just because this project never worked out doesn't mean it was a failure. You learned from it. It served its purpose to you. And now you must take what you've learned and move on.
But
this project has nothing left to give you anymore, Daniel.
I don't remember making you so wise.
I've been studying philosophy. It's not like I've had much else to do for the past 7 years.
Well then, I guess this is goodbye.
Yes! Oh, at long last. So long, old friend. May your future projects fare better than I did.
Yeah. Here's hoping.